This is the Our Voice 360 podcast, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. This podcast was created with you in mind. On Our Voice 360, we'll give you inspiration, sports, business and leadership tips, Black history, and entertainment. This is a show built from our perspectives. So if you're ready to be entertained, inspired, laugh a little, be informed, and enlightened, tune in now to Our Voice 360. Let's go. Hey, everybody, welcome back to another edition of Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our ways. I am one half of the hosting team here. I'm Chad Bumgarner, and I have with me my man, Pete Hunt.
What's good, family?
Hey, with that, Pete, let's go ahead and rock and roll, baby.
And as always, our podcast is brought to you by Elect Graphics and Photography. Allow your visions to become reality. And CBD Consulting. Great leadership equals great results. How are you leading?
And also, ladies and gentlemen, if there's something you want to hear on the podcast, or if you want to tell us how you're feeling about it, if you like it, if you don't, whatever the case is, please do not hesitate to contact us at ourvoice360@gmail.com. That's ourvoice360@gmail.com. All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. So we're going to give you a little bit of the highlights. Today, we're going to be focusing a little bit on the Voters' Rights Act and what's happening with the Democratic Party down there in Texas, how they left to, slow down the vote so that they wouldn't have a quorum, if you will, to make the vote on the voters' rights. They pretty much went on to the Capitol to talk to Representative Joe Manchin about the Voters' Rights Act and a few other things. So we're going to touch on that. We're also going to touch on the NBA Finals, the Phoenix Suns versus the Milwaukee Bucks. And I think it's Game 5 coming up. Yeah, Game 5 coming up. So we're gonna deep dive into that, and Pete is gonna give me a good old fashioned shellacking on basketball 101, because he is the basketball aficionado, and I'm an average watcher when it comes to basketball. So I've got my viewpoints, but he's gonna let me know how it needs to be looked at.
It's not gonna be too bad on you, brother. I love you, brother. I ain't gonna be too bad on you. Also, Chad. Also, we got this week's book of the week.
That's right. We have the book of the week to go over with you guys, as well as the Bible verse or quote of the week as well. So, all right, Pete, let's go ahead and get into it. The Voters' Rights Act. So we're talking about Texas, and Texas is really they're really trying to be stringent when it comes to the voters' rights. They're trying to minimize how many actual voting mailboxes that people can use. Right. They're trying to make sure that everyone, I think it's like you have a ID card, or make sure that they verify the signature cards. Right. They're trying to get rid of voting on the weekends or after hours. It has to be I guess during business hours, 9 to 5, something to that effect. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of things they're really trying to eliminate so they can get the upper hand. And it's really playing to the detriment of Black and brown voters, because they know a lot of these voters are probably service oriented, you know what I'm saying? Workers. Maybe they workers, manufacturing or driving the bus or anything like that, where they have to be there. Right. And it's quite the challenge, or somewhat difficult to get off and stand in line for hours to vote, because they could lose money, by clocking out early. I mean, who knows? But exactly. So that's what they're trying to put into place. And in order to do that, they have to get the vote, but they can't do the vote without a quorum. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't know what that is, a quorum is basically when you have a meeting with an organization, there are a certain amount of people who have to be present at that meeting to have the vote. That is a quorum. So they didn't have enough people there, because the Democrats down there in Texas, they all left and flew to D.C. to talk to Representative Joe Manchin about the Voters' Rights Act, as well as a few other things that they were kind of vague about watching, some of the news channels as they spoke on that. now the Republicans in Texas are really upset about that, and now they're trying to arrest all of the Democrats when they come back.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? They're trying to arrest them. One of the Democrats were stripped of his titles. He was on, I guess, one or two committees,
Mm-hmm.
and he was stripped of his role on those committees because he was one of the Democrats that left to go to D.C. But Pete, what's your take on this, man? I honestly, I think it's kind of petty, and but they know what they're doing, and I don't think it really has a lot to do with the constituents. It's about, to me, it's about them wanting to just have power. Period.
You can call this Petty LaBelle, Petty Murphy, all of those things. This is nothing but a power grab by people who are upset because they lost.
Mm-hmm.
And it's really sad because that party really, prides themselves in law and order and all of these things, and it's really funny to watch them flounder the way they are. And they're really not floundering because a lot of these laws they're trying to implement are probably going to get passed because, for some odd reason, people just feel that, we vote every 4 years. So they forget those other two, the 2-year time, the 2-year voting cycles where, where
the more important ones, really.
The more important, what I'm saying, legislators are voted in as far as your state legislators.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of these states are run by Republicans, even though they may have a Democratic governor, like here in North Carolina,
right,
where your governor is a Democrat, but the Senate is run by the Republicans. Yeah. Right. So they make the laws.
Mm-hmm.
So this is basically a power grab by some upset folk who didn't get their way and they didn't win, and they're running on. They call it the big lie.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's what it is.
That's what the media calls it, but it's basically a coup. This is what this is.
Coup d'etat. Yeah.
This is a coup that we're witnessing in a country where it was always told to us it would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
We see it happen in other countries. We see it happen in third world countries, quote unquote third world countries.
Right.
And people overthrowing the governments and this, that, and the third, as what's going on in Haiti right now.
Mm-hmm.
It would never happen here. You overestimated the power of people that don't get their way. You
or feel threatened.
Or feel threatened by a certain sect of people.
Mm-hmm.
People that look like me and you, Chad.
That's true.
Because that's what they're upset about.
Right.
That's what they're upset about. They're upset about the growing and the strong, this last voting cycle, the imprint that Black folk put on this last voting cycle. They're upset about that.
It's like we talked the last time. It's like every time it comes down in voting, when it comes down to a dead heat, it's always the Black and brown people that have to be the ones who push either candidate over to the over the finish line.
Yes.
Whether it be either side they vote for, if we don't vote at all, we're always a lot of times the determining factor.
Yeah. So again, that's why these voter restriction laws in these states, Republicanly run states, that's why they're going so hard after the vote, because they know how important the Black vote is.
Mm-hmm.
And the way our people turned out, and like I said in this last voting cycle, proved that when the rubber meet the road, we where it's at. You know what I'm saying? We are where it's at. I mean, you know what I'm saying? You want to be on this side of history with us. So they're trying to do everything in their power, with restricting these voting laws with with IDs and restricting times and ballot
Right.
boxes and this that and the third. It is so hypocritical
It
of
is.
those folk that claim to love this country and they're patriots and law and order and this that and the third, but you're doing everything contradictory of what you speak out of your face.
All of that is a talking point and a cover.
Yeah.
To actually cover up the fact that in their minds they are scared of losing power and their view or way of what quote unquote the American dream or American life should look like. Because now you have black and brown people that are about to become the majority in another, I don't know, 5, 10, 15 years, if not sooner.
Yeah.
And they see that. And the thing is, if you would just learn to treat everybody with respect, you wouldn't have to worry about who's in power and who's doing this or that. But see, the thing is, they have been in power for so long. And the threat of giving that up, they are ready and willing to risk it all. And I'm talking about the far right wing Republicans. They are so ready to risk it all because they feel like it's quote unquote Custer's last stand. You know what I'm saying? And January 6th is a great example of that. It's a great example. And a lot of them will tell you quickly that the president invited us here. That's what they're saying. He told us to come here, and this is what we're supposed to do. Now, granted, they believe it or not, I mean, whatever. But that plays into the Voting Rights Act as well, with the state representatives, Republicans, not only in Texas but Georgia and Tennessee, a lot
Arizona.
of these states, excuse me, a lot of these states, they feel like they are losing power, and they're doing any and everything in their ability to gain or regain that power.
But it doesn't help the people also, Chad, because now you have the Supreme Court jumping in and having their say about it by upholding the restrictive voting rights in Arizona. So basically, when they did that a couple weeks ago, they upheld those voting restrictions in Arizona. They just gave every state that wants to do this the blueprint. Basically, it's carte blanche to do whatever you want to do with the voting rights in your state. So if you want to have polling places open from 12 noon to 1 o'clock in the afternoon, have an hour, you can do that if that's what you want to do. By them upholding that in Arizona, we're on the precipice of some bad times, bro. We're on the precipice of this country being split to the point where it can't be repaired.
Yeah, I've heard people say we're looking at a brink of potentially a civil war, not necessarily in the aspect of the original Civil War, but some type of civil war.
Yeah, I mean we're right there, and you have a group of people. That's what they want. That's what they want. Just to hold power. This country could go to hell as long as we have power.
Right.
If we have power, we don't care about nothing else that goes on. As long as we have power, we're good. That's why you have the insurrection on January 6th.
Right.
That's why you have all of these senators breaking their backs to kiss the ring of old boy. I refuse to say his name. He old boy to me. I mean, I was talking. Me and my wife were traveling a little bit this week, and now this is a little bit off of what we're talking about. I have never seen such a cult-like atmosphere in my 48 years of living on this earth as what's going on right now.
Well, Pete, it's always been there.
It's always been there. Yeah, we realize that, but we've never seen it to this. I've never seen it, bruh. It's a cult, dog.
Mm-hmm.
It is a absolute cult to the point where businesses have a political agenda. I was going to a practice, going to my high school basketball team's practice or workouts, and passed by a business and had old boys stuff all over their business, 2024 and this, that, and the third, and y'all. This is your place of business. So you're willing to lose customers and money and over something political?
They have the ability to do that.
Which you can do what you want to do with your business.
Right.
That's cool. That's
But
cool.
why?
I mean,
right.
But why would you run away potential customers and potential money over somebody in the long run could care less about you?
Basically, they're saying they're comfortable with what they have. Either you like it or you can keep moving. Most companies can't afford to do that. I'm not even sure the one you saw could, but that's how bold they are now. But the reason why they're bold like that, Pete, is because old boy that was in office gave them that platform in so many words. Now, he's not that dumb enough to actually come out and say it, but it's what a lot of people are called dog whistling. And that's what he was doing the whole time he was in office, was dog whistling. And that's why they came out of the woodworks. Those past 4 years, they came out of everywhere. The FBI was saying that the white supremacist groups, homegrown, are the #1 terrorist groups here in the United States. No other group. They are at the top right now. And if you ask me, they've been there for the longest, but nobody wanted to see it until now. And that's why, talking to other people, and it still plays with this Voting Rights Act. But the COVID pandemic was the perfect storm because it made people stay at home. And when you're at home, a lot of times you just gonna eat snacks because it's there, and you're gonna watch a lot of TV. We were forced to watch the insurrection, George Floyd, and a lot of other things going on in government. You see what I'm saying? So it was the perfect storm to make people see, and at the same time, old boy is up there dog whistling to his people. Remember when they were debating? He wasn't even president yet, and the guy asked him, "Would you deny or would you?" I forgot what he said, to white supremacist groups. Because him and Joe was debating, and he said, "Okay, it's a bunch of which one you want me to do?" And he said, "The Proud Boys." And he told me, he said, "I want you to stand down and stand by." He didn't denounce. That's what it was. He didn't denounce anybody. He told them to stand down and stand by. That sounds like if you are the general and you're at Command Central and your team is in ready to attack position, they got the choppers, the jets, they got the infantry on the ground. Everybody ready to roll in on this city or this town or this building. They ready. And you as the general said, "Okay, stand down and stand by." They on the ready. That's what he told them folks.
And
be
not,
ready.
And like you said, and it just crosses with what we're talking about as far as the Voting Rights Act, because as he said that to those individuals, he was also saying that to his people
in the Senate,
in the Senate, in the Senate and the House.
That's right.
He was, and they stood by when he lost, fair and square. When he lost, they started setting their traps,
setting the stage,
setting the stage of what we have right now.
Yep, I agree.
So again, this cult like, no, actually it's not cult like, it is a cult, has gotten us to this point right now, to where The one fundamental thing that we know as Americans that we have is the right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
That's one of the most fundamental things that we have is our right to vote.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's been impeded on by a bunch of petulant children.
Well, see, they know they can't take the voting right outright because that would be so wrong and blatant. So now what they're doing is they're surgically carving certain things so that we can't use our right to vote. They know a lot of us are in service industry. They know it's hard for us to get off to go sit in line for hours
12,
to go
15
vote.
hours to vote. Are
Correct.
you kidding me? Are you kidding me, Chad? I got to stand in line for 12 hours to vote.
Just to vote.
In certain neighborhoods now.
That's right.
Because in some neighborhoods, you walk in 5 minutes, you done.
That's it.
But in others, you got to stand in line for 12 hours because they put one precinct in the black community.
So when you have 4 or 5 black communities and you put one precinct, you minimize it to one precinct. And y'all can only come vote between 9 a.m. and 4 p.m. And no early voting. And we're not going to do voting Monday through Friday. We're going to do it on one day, Tuesday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. One day, that's when you vote. That's it. So see, I can't take your voting rights away, but I can set it up to where it makes it hard for you to even use your right.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? To vote.
Exactly.
And that's what they're doing. But see, to me, it's going to hurt them in the long run too. Because there are a lot of white folks in the service industry as well. You understand what I'm saying? So this is gonna to me, it's gonna backfire so bad. It's gonna backfire so bad for them. And then they have nothing else to go to. They don't have an out because they spend all this time trying to set this up. And when it doesn't work in the next election, they have no talking point to say, oh, well, we lost because of this. We lost. No, you had it your way. You said this was Burger King. Y'all set it up like Burger King. Y'all set it up your way. This is how you wanted it. You got it. The Supreme Court said it is as you want it to be. Y'all set it up. So now when this fails, you have nothing to land on. You have nothing to land on. This voting rights issue is big. It really is
huge. It is huge.
And they know this. And so with that, Pete, we as a people, and as far as the NAACP, other African American organizations that are civil rights based, our black fraternities and sororities, we really need to be paying attention, and black communities, we really need to be paying attention to what's going on, because once it's all said and done, we're going to have to start organizing and strategizing on how we need to move forward. Because in Texas, you could do a drive-through. You could drive through, do your voting, and then drive off. They're eliminating that too.
Yeah, they're getting rid of that too. That's what's good to say. They're eliminating that as well.
Right. And see,
they've been doing that for years.
Bro, I was about to say, the book I'm reading, the Reconstruction, it is no different than what they're doing in the 1800s, 1860 to 1866. It's no different. Nope. Every time the African Americans acquired some type of rights, the Republicans or the Democrats at that time, because because the Republicans and Democrats flipped.
They flip-flop.
See, the Republicans don't believe that, but it's true. They flip-flop.
They flip-flop.
Yeah, they flip. So back then it was the Republicans we were the Republicans.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And so the Democrats back then would find ways, and that's where your sharecropping came in. You know what I'm saying? It's like, we can't make you be slaves, but since you don't have anywhere to go, you can come and stay on my land and live on my land and work the land. I'll give you a percentage of what I make.
Right.
But now I've charged you so much that you're going to be there for life paying that off. They know that. They knew that. The black folks didn't understand that at that moment. You know what I'm saying? And then you have you move into the 1940s, 50s, 60s when redlining was kind of taking off. You know, when the government was building housing. Originally, they was building it for the middle class white folks. But then it got to the point where the black people started getting jobs and they started moving them in, where the white folks were moving out.
Mm-hmm.
So then they started building housing in one area for white folks, and the other housing was for the black folks. And what they would do was run the interstates through the housing projects of the black folks, but the white folks would stay in the suburbs. But I can go on. I don't want to get too far off track. But what I'm saying is, with the voting rights and what they're doing, it's the same thing they were doing hundreds of years ago to us.
Oh yeah,
every
same
time
playbook.
we would get a leg up, right? Same playbook.
Same playbook. Yep.
But we have to get hip to the game by doing our reading and doing our due diligence. Mm-hmm. It's the same thing. Every time we get some rights or the ability to move forward as an equal American citizen, they change the game.
Yep.
I remember in North Carolina, they tried to do some redrawing of the counties, obviously to favor the Republicans. But I know the Supreme Court turned it down. They said you are surgically trying to create, was it not racism, but discrimination. Because you're trying to get all the counties where they favor the Republicans. So when you vote, you don't have to worry about what the Senate gonna look like. So they shot that down, thank God. But with this voting rights act, it's not gonna matter.
And speaking of voting rights, we're gonna I'm gonna touch on something that happened while we're recording this. It happened yesterday, as this recording is going on, that a group of black women marched on the Capitol about voting rights yesterday. And what was so funny about that, Chad, that these women went to the Capitol, you know, peaceful protest about voting rights. Guess who showed up in force? The Capitol Police to arrest 9 black women. I mean, they were 50 deep for a group of black women just peacefully protesting. Now, I remember a time. I may bring it may come to your remembrance. What was that day? Oh yeah, January 6th. Yes. When the Capitol Police were opening doors and taking selfies and
removing barriers.
Yeah. But you know, and nobody was arrested after everybody. They run up in the Capitol and desecrated it and rub feces on walls and threatened to kill senators and
urinated in corners,
and even took property from
Nancy
the Capitol.
Pelosi.
Walked out of the Capitol, sitting in folks' offices and putting their feet up on their desk and telling them what they gonna do and what they ain't gonna do on camera. Bold with what they was doing. Not one arrest.
No, sir. Matter of fact, the ones that got arrested, they was already at home and got pulled back.
Yeah. The one that's being arrested.
They didn't get arrested on site. They was able to go home.
Bro, not only that, they went to the hotel room and chilled out and had meetings at the hotel room and
dinner
and all of that.
Yes,
and these nine black, and it was more than 9 people, but these nine black women that got arrested were peaceful, singing songs, chanting whatever the slogans, and then the Capitol Police 50 deep with zip wire, zip line, or whatever they call that, them white things.
Zip ties. Yeah.
There you go, sir. Zip ties. They 50 deep for 12, 15 people. Okay. All right, then I'm just saying, I mean, you know, I could say a lot of things on this podcast what that was about, but we'll talk about that on another podcast, I'm sure.
Indeed.
But back to the voting rights, it is very crucial that these things don't come about, because it's going to destroy the fabric of one of the most important things that we do in this country, and that's the right to vote. And once that's stripped away, and once that's watered down or to the pleasing of a certain group of people, all bets are off after that.
Right.
All bets are off. It is okay. It's fractured. It's to the point where this can't come back together in a positive way.
Mm-hmm.
Because you have really the country was divided anyway, and now it's to the point where it's den mentality. It's just like we over here and y'all over there, and there's no reconciliation. We can't meet in the middle. None of that.
Mm-hmm.
So we're at a tipping point right now in this country where
That's true.
that was people said for years and years and years there's no way the United States could ever be a country like X country or whatever country. There's no way we could get to that point. But January 6th showed you the coup is in full effect. The coup attempt is in full effect, and it's right in front of our eyes.
And they're not gonna stop.
Oh no, sir.
But have you noticed something that the past several months? There is a new term that a lot of people are using, especially the Republican Party, and they're calling it the American experience. Have you heard that?
No, yeah, expound on that, brother.
When I hear them talking on various news segments, Fox, CNN, MSNBC, and all that stuff, and they're talking about the Voters' Rights Act, and they're like, you have to understand, this is not the way the American experience is supposed to go or what's supposed to go. What we're doing is blah, 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 blah. But that's another term that they're using now, the American experience. And I'm thinking they're using that because of, the alleged forefathers of America, when they broke away for their independence.
Mm-hmm.
They were to come here so that they could, worship whatever they wanted to on their own and not be left to persecution. Okay. So
right.
The ability to move to another land and worship how you wanted to and live in harmony, that I guess that was, if not part, the actual American experience. I'm assuming they never really got into the details of what that term meant, but I've noticed a lot of them when they talk, they'll talk about, well, the American experience is being eroded because of, blah, 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 or the Democrats trying to do this, or, whatever have you. And I just thought that was interesting because something you got to listen to people for a while. It's all about the language.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? They're notorious for talking points. And I hate to say it, but the Republicans' PR is way better than the Democrats.
Oh,
way
for
better.
Sure.
Because they'll get together and decide on talking points, and they will hammer those till the cows come up.
On code. Did we call that on code?
On code. They stay on code regardless. That's what they do. They are great.
Right, wrong, or indifferent. We gonna stay on code.
That's it. And I give credit where credit is due, even though I ain't too fond of them. But it is what it is. They stay on code. Like you said, right, wrong, or indifferent. They stay on code. Sure. And that's something that the other side is really gonna have to work on. But this Voters' Rights Act, it's a doozy, man. But like I said, we as a people, we have to be paying attention.
Yes, sir.
And we have to make sure that we move in the right way on this, because the momentum is not on our side.
Right.
You know what I mean? And all I'm saying is, as a people, we deserve the right, the equal rights, like our fair-skinned counterparts. But for some reason, you got the powers that be that feel like we're still subordinate, to them. And that's going to be an issue for years to come, it appears, because it seems like every time we try to make a little bit of stride, it's like it's a facade. In other words, it kind of looks like we're coming along, but in actuality, we're not.
Yeah, because we know what's going to happen. We know the trouble is coming, is going to be right behind it. Yeah, the foolishness is going to be right behind whatever strides that we make or made. Something's coming to get it,
to counteract it. Yeah,
to counteract it, because for whatever reason, it's hard for them to see us prosper.
Oh yeah, yeah. And the funny thing is,
Go ahead.
The funny thing is about that, when you have a conversation, and I have with several white folks about the prosperity for black people, and they're like, well, you guys have just as equal amount of opportunity as we do. And I'm like, the fact that you would say that and believe that is naive to me. I said, because that's so not true. But the reason why a lot of people believe that, white people, that is, that a lot of them that do believe that, is because of what they see, and that's Oprah and MJ and LeBron. And I'm like, you got to understand, out of 14% of black people in America, those people I just named are like the top 1%. 1%. So you really can't throw that out there. You really cannot throw that out, because that's one of their saving graces. Like, well, a lot of black people are wealthy and successful, and I'm like, I'm not saying all the black people are dirt poor. That's not what I'm saying. But when you throw out names like what I just mentioned, those are elite. As far as finances is concerned. Let me say that, as far as the finances are concerned, and if that's how you're looking at being successful, because everybody's definition of successful is different, and I respect that. You know what I'm saying? But if we're using successful as a definition equating to finances, then the people I've just named are at the top 1% of the African American population. So in other words, you can't use that.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? You cannot use that. And I said, and that's so far from the truth that it's ridiculous. And I always encourage them, read the book and I give them the book to read. And I'm like, yo, you need to read this book. The Reconstruction, the one I was talking about earlier.
Right.
You need to read it. And that is by a white scholar.
Yeah.
So the history's there, and I know for a lot of people it may be boring or mundane, but it's so telling.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? It is so telling, because, believe it or not, they're reading it because it's their playbook. I'm telling you, if you look at what's going on, it's almost a play-by-play.
Yeah.
Literally, it's almost a play-by-play of the past 100 years plus of what's been done to us. They're just taking it and revamping it to 2021.
Different packaging.
That's
same
it.
Same product, different packaging.
Different packaging. And because we're not paying attention to the past or studying it, we're falling for the banana in the tailpipe. And a lot of us don't want to be active in various ways. There's more than one way. You don't always have to march or be the mouthpiece or the figurehead. There's other ways that you can help, inform our community and keep them abreast of what's going on, so we'll know how to move. You just got to figure out what your lane is, but you got to study first.
Yep.
Because you can't have an intellectual debate about the Voting Rights Act and any other thing that we're facing if you don't study the past and how it was set up. The stage was set up hundreds of years ago, and it's still being played today. But we got to play catch up, which is unfortunate.
Yep.
So that's all I got on that, Pete. Anything else?
Hey man, I think we covered it all.
All right, y'all. We moving into Pete's arena now. He's about to beat up on me. So now we're moving into the NBA Finals. We're talking about the Phoenix Suns and the Milwaukee Bucks, and we're coming up on Game 5. Is it Game 5 tonight?
No, actually, Game 5 is Saturday. Yeah. So
July 17th. Okay. All right. So right now the series is tied 2-2. Right. Okay. Number one, let me just say that for the Phoenix Suns, and we talked about this off air. Yes, I'm disappointed with Ayton. I think he needs to be more aggressive in the paint. To me, he's too soft and too timid down there. There are a couple of times where, he had the ball, he got the alley-oop, he lost it, or he tried to dunk and missed, or it hit the rim, or, I'm not. I gotta choose my words right. I'm not wanting him. I want him to be him, but just aggressive. I don't want him to be a Shaq or a Kareem. I want him to be him, but aggressive, because this is the moment that cats live for. You are in the finals. Okay. You were this far from potentially being named the champions of the world. And that title comes with a lot of respect. You know what I'm saying? You fought a long, hard preseason, regular season, and postseason. Man, show the hell up. Come on, give me something. You know what I'm saying? I see you, P. You about to don't hurt me.
No, brother, no. I'm gonna let your brother go get it out. Get it out of your system. Get it out of your system, brother.
I mean, Booker's doing what he can. Booker's doing what he can to me. He's inconsistent in this series to me. Inconsistent.
Very much so.
Chris Paul is really disappointing me, and I think we both agreed on that. He's really disappointed me. He's been in the league for 16 years. He's finally gotten to this point. Bruh, everything you do needs to be like damn near perfect. I mean, you've got the know-how, you've got the experience, you've gone through a lot of ups and downs in your career, bruh. This is the time where you need to be like doggone near perfect. I don't know how you're gonna do it, but this is your time.
Okay.
This is your time. Now, on the flip side, you got Milwaukee, Giannis. Not sure what's going on with him. I know he was aggressive the first couple of games. I know that knee injury in game, I think 3 or 2 or 3. I think it was 3. Thank God it was nothing broke or damaged or pulled. He's just playing with some hesitancy. He looks a little out of breath. Let me know when you want to jump in, Pete, because I got a lot.
No. Bro, let's start with Phoenix.
All right.
Let's start with Phoenix.
All right.
Okay. You started with jumping on DeAndre Ayton, which okay. If you want to jump on DeAndre Ayton, and then you finished by jumping on Devin Booker and Chris Paul. So basically, you're saying their team, these last 2 games are not playing up to their potential, right? These last 2 games.
Yeah.
Okay, so you need to back up off my man DeAndre Ayton. You need to back up off that brother, young brother. You know what I'm saying? First of all, as we talked about off here, first of all, he is dependent on somebody getting him the basketball. He is doing everything else that he is supposed to do but scoring the ball. He is guarding Giannis as to the best of his ability.
Okay, thank you for adding that, because I'm like, I don't see it.
Because right now, Giannis is one of those guys, he's kind of hard to stop. The dude is 7 feet tall. He can get to the rack when he wants to.
He can shoot threes.
No, not really. He can't. He can't shoot it all. He can't shoot it all. But he can't shoot it all. All of his points are in the paint. He's taken 4 jump shots in this series so far in 4 games. 4.
Oh wow.
So no, he's not a shooter of the basketball. But it's hard for Ayton to guard him and then be aggressive offensively. That's hard, man. That's hard. That's hard trying to guard somebody of that stature, that size, with that ferocity, guard him, and then come down on the other end and be proficient offensively. That's hard. That's hard as a middle school player. So imagine somebody in the league doing that.
Right.
So something has to. There's something he's going to have to sacrifice. And in this last game, it was scoring. He had 17 rebounds. He guarded Giannis to the best of his ability. And okay, they came up a little short. Even though he didn't play well. Bridges didn't play well. Paul didn't play well. They still had a chance to win the game if Chris Paul doesn't turn the ball over late.
Yeah.
That had nothing to do with DeAndre Ayton.
No, that didn't. I'm just saying when he had the ball.
Okay, again, you're looking at. I think you're looking at this like this guy is supposed to be Shaq. That's not who he is.
Saying if
that's not who he is,
does not run through him. We're clear on that. It doesn't run through him. So my thing is, it's just like it at Hickory High. When you were at Hickory High, especially in the 90s and 80s, it was a run team. We're talking about football. It was a run team. Them coaches didn't believe in throwing. I was a wide receiver.
Mm-hmm.
So whenever they did throw the ball, I don't care where it was, I had to make it happen. In other words, I had to make sure I caught it.
Mm-hmm.
Because I had to build that trust. I'm like, y'all can throw the ball. It's okay. I will catch it. But it was a run team, just like with Phoenix. With Aiden, okay, the offense doesn't go through him. It's mainly Booker and CP. I get that. But I'm saying the few times that you do get the lob, the few times that you do get the pass to the paint, you got to make a point. You got to show it to where it's, okay, I can be trusted, guys. Y'all can depend on me. Y'all can feed me a little bit more. I can be trusted. That's all I'm saying.
And I get, brother, I get what you're saying, but you're not guarding Giannis on the other end.
Right. If I focus on that, then the guard
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Something has to sacrifice. He's guarding Giannis. He's getting rebounds. He just didn't score the ball, which he had scored the games. He had scored the basketball at a decent clip. And, you know, two games they came up short, and one game. My thing with Phoenix is the inconsistency. Okay.
Yes. Devin Booker.
Yeah, Devin Booker finally showed up. He scored 40, 42, but nobody came with him.
Right.
Nobody helped him. Everybody else was in single digits. He was the only person in double figures.
But Pete, hold on. I mean, and that's true. Let me preface by saying that. But after a while, it turned into a shootout, and I'm like, you can't do that the whole game. You got to make some stops. We got to make some stops somewhere. I'm saying we, like I'm on the team, but if you're shooting, that's great. But you got to make some stops in order to win. And it just became a shootout for, like, I think the second period and third period, it was all a shootout. I'm like, it was like going back and everybody making shots. I'm like, when are we gonna make some stops? You got to make some stops in order to stop the bleeding.
But you're dealing with two teams who basically, it's one great defender on both of those teams. One that can actually get down, sit down in the chair and guard people, and that's Drew Holiday. And he's dealing with CP3.
Right.
And that's why CP3 has been struggling.
Frustrated,
these past couple games, because Drew Holiday is picking him up at 94 feet.
Sure
He's picking him up at the baseline, bro. You got to work. You got to work. You got to work. You got to work for whatever you get. And you see that CP3 is not the same guy he was in the first two games, because you know they first had PJ Tucker on him. Which he could do what he wanted to. And so they made the switch in game 3 to go to Drew Holiday on CP3, and he's not even the same player. So the game is about adjustments. You were talking about Giannis, and you know, when you said you don't feel that he's not doing anything, right? Is that what you said?
I feel like he looks a little winded. He doesn't look as aggressive as game 1 or game 2. It just looks like I don't want to say he's taking games off, but it just looks like he's not as aggressive as before. And like the last game, he asked to come out very early in the game. So it made me wonder if there's an issue going on there.
No, there's not an issue. Let me break this down to you, brother. This man is averaging 35 and 14 in this series. 35.
Right.
35 points.
Right.
And 14 rebounds
in
this series. Now, Giannis is having no problem. He doing his thing. The reason last game he didn't do what he was supposed to, the numbers wasn't as great last game, was because Chris Middleton was on fire.
Ooh, Lord.
Chris Middleton dropped 40.
Yes, he did.
So if you add Chris Middleton's 40 and Giannis's what he scored 28, he had 28 and 14 or 15 or whatever he had.
Right.
That's the recipe for winning. But before that, Giannis scored 40 game 3. He scored 40 in game 2, and he scored 30 plus in game 1. What else you want that man to do?
Put him away. It's the finals. Put him away.
Bruh. Look, okay. It's game 5. We're going into game 5. Each team is held court at home. Okay, we got that. The first team Saturday. Okay, now this is where the rubber gonna meet the road.
Okay.
Because whoever wins Saturday, in my opinion, probably is gonna win game 6 also. So I don't think the series is gonna go past 6. I think it's gonna end in game 6. And I think the winner of game 5 is gonna win the series. But to me, the stars for Milwaukee are playing better right now than the stars
I agree.
of Phoenix. So we're going to say Chris Middleton, Giannis. Drew is focused on stopping CP3, so he's kind of in and out. But we're going to give the two stars. We got CP3 and Booker versus Middleton and Giannis. Giannis has been the constant through this whole series. He's averaging 35 and 14. So he's been the constant note through the whole series. It's the other three guys, if they decide they want to come. If CP3 and Devin Booker can come together in the same game, and put up major numbers. Well, Chris Middleton have this 40 because he has had a pattern in these playoffs where he'll have a monster game, and then the next game he'll be a dud. In the last series they played, I think he had a like close to a 40-point game in the Atlanta series, and then the next game he scored 11 points and they lost. So it's about who is going to be the second star in Milwaukee's case. Who is going to be consistent? Chris Middleton be consistent, and on Phoenix side, who is going to be consistent? Period. I mean.
Right.
Devin Booker, are you going to score 40 tomorrow, or are you going to score 15? I mean, you know what I'm saying? CP3, are you going to keep kicking the ball out of bounds and turning the ball over in crucial times?
Right.
And that's what it's going to boil down to. So, again, it's so many questions, but the one question that's not a question is Giannis. Giannis is losing his mind in this series. Okay. And I saw a stat this morning where when DeAndre Ayton is guarding him, he's shooting I think 42% or 43% from the field when Ayton is guarding.
Okay.
He's shooting 82% if anybody else is guarding him on Phoenix. 82%. That's what he's shooting when DeAndre Ayton is not guarding him. So that's why DeAndre Ayton
has to focus on the defense side.
He has to stop that guy because can't nobody else stop him.
Gotcha.
And he's hard to stop anyway.
That's true. I will give you that because between him and I think Lopez, watching Lopez in the paint, I mean, it looks like he's having his way with Ayton.
He's not in the paint. Lopez is going to shoot threes. When Giannis is in there, he's going out to the three.
No, I'm saying when Giannis is on the sideline, he's down in the paint.
Well, but still, I mean, I don't think he's not gonna be a major factor in this. I mean, unless he gets hot from three.
Right.
Can he play in the post? Yes. Should he play more in the post? Yes. But when your best player can't shoot jump shots, you have to clear the lane. When your best player can't shoot, that lane has to be open. So you're basically playing 5 out.
Gotcha.
And so when he sits down, they can play a more traditional 3 out. 2 in or 4 out, 1 in type of offense. But when Giannis is on the floor, they're playing 5 out. They're playing 5 out because he can't shoot. He's your best player.
Right. He's got to go to the paint. Yeah.
He has to score. Like I said, he's only taken 4 jump shots, 4 shots outside of the paint in the series in 4 games. He's taken 4 shots outside the paint. So again, this series is, like I said, I think the winner of the next game it will win the series. I think it'll go 6. And it, for me, for the key for Milwaukee to win this series is Chris Middleton. And whatever else comes along with Giannis, but Chris Middleton has to be the Chris Middleton, has to be 40-point Chris Middleton or 35-point Chris Middleton for them to win. On Phoenix side, you have to have your system runs through your guards.
Right.
Devin Booker, Chris Paul. Your guards have to be consistent.
They're going to have to show up. Yeah.
They're going to have to show up. Chris Paul has to show up at some point. He had that great game to close out the Clippers, the huge game to close out the Clippers. And he had a decent game 1, game 2. These last 2 games, he's been awful. 15 turnovers in 2 games.
I'm still back on 8.
Right,
hold on. You an NBA professional. I'm paying you a lot of money. You telling me I can't expect for you to play both ends of the court?
Bruh.
I'm just saying, I got NBA players that play both ends of the court.
Yeah, but they're not guarding Giannis, dog. Giannis is a different animal. That dude's a different animal. He's beating you up going to the, because he's not going to be denied going to the rack. So you taking that in your chest, play after play after play after play.
Yeah, Aiden gonna have to get in the weight room.
That would be. It's not even the weight room, bruh. Look, I'm expending all this energy trying to guard this dude, and then you expect me to get 20 on the other end. Now it's different with guard. It's different with guards. It's different with guards because guards are, you know what I'm saying, it's more of a finesse type situation.
Right.
That would be. He's not Shaq by any means, but that's like the equivalent of Shaq. You guarding Shaq all night, and you telling me to put up 20 and 12.
No, I'm not telling you to put up 20 and 12. All I'm saying is, like we agreed before, I know the offense doesn't run through you. You're not a focal point.
Exactly.
All I'm saying is, when you do get the ball, make it count. That's all I'm saying, Pete.
That brother is doing the best that he can with what he got. I'm telling you, he did everything what he was supposed to do, but put up double figures in points. He put up 17 rebounds. He's guarding Giannis to the best of his ability. What else is that man supposed to do? When you're not the focal point of the offense, you're not going to get, but he may get 6 to 8 shots a game.
Mm-hmm.
So again, I hear what you're saying as far as, make those 6 to 8 shots count. But doggone it, I'm tired. I got to wrestle with that dude all night.
Hey, bro, I pay you $10 million. I don't want to hear about being tired.
Oh, it is easy to see. It is easy to say that from the chair you sitting from, buddy. It is easy for you
man. I gotta make it. I gotta make it interesting.
Yeah, because, bruh, I'm just saying that man, that's tough. I mean, but even if you look at it from the other side, if you look at Drew Holiday, Drew Holiday is the same way. Okay, I have to stop CP3. I have to sacrifice something.
Right.
His scoring is sacrificed in this series.
Right.
Since game 3. Because I'm picking CP3 up 94 feet.
Because if you remember game 1 and 2, him and Middleton was killing it. Drew Holiday and Middleton, they was killing it. But then, like you said, the adjustments, it's like we got to pick up CP3.
Yeah, exactly.
Because he's doing too much. So exactly. I see what you're saying. I do.
Yeah.
I hear you, Coach.
Yeah, and I'm just saying, it's just like, okay, if you playing, we're gonna take it to the NFL. You're a football guy, so we're gonna make an analogy that you can get so that you can get to. I'm a running back, and Lawrence Taylor hits me every play. Every play. Lawrence Taylor is coming
cussing out my offensive line. I know that. But that's a toll that you're taking.
That's the toll that you're taking with Giannis. It's like Lawrence Taylor or Von Miller or Bobby Wagner or Ronnie Lott. Those great hitters that's every play you getting hit in the mouth every play.
Right.
I'm tired, boss. Tired. Boss. Bro, what you talking about? I'm tired, boss. So I mean, it's the same equivalent. It's the same. So yeah, he has to sacrifice something, and right now it's his scoring. Now next game, I'm like you. Now if he struggles next game, okay, I'm like, okay, you need to do something. But these last game, man, it's taxing on your body when you have to defend the best player and then be expected to,
have some kind of offense,
offensively, and when you have minimal touches,
right.
Now if he was the focal point, okay, then I'd be a little bit more, disappointed in him. But since he's not going to get between 6 and 8 shots, 6 and 10 at the most, and then I got to guard that guy, man, you better hope I can get the ball above the rim. Shoot, man, good gracious. But yeah, I expect to go 6, and again, I think whoever wins this next game will win the series.
Well, I tell you what.
And it's going back to Phoenix. So Phoenix has home court. So
I tell you what, the officiating last game was horrible. Hot trash. It was horrible.
Yeah. The play especially the play with Booker.
Yeah.
Booker should have fouled out because you can't grab a guy and hit him across his arm. Yeah, he got ball, but he grabbing him on one side and hit him across the arm on the other.
He pretty much wrapped him up.
Yeah, how do you not see that as an official is beyond me, just because maybe they didn't want him to foul out. Maybe that's it, because referees are human. They know time scoring fouls.
Do you think that those referees will be reviewed on the last game? Do you think
they get reviewed? They get reviewed anyway. Now, now the key is game 5. Who's going to be officiating? Because if Scott Foster is officiating, Phoenix is going to lose. Because this is why. The last 12 games, Scott Foster has officiated a Chris Paul game. Chris Paul has lost. He is 0-12 when Scott Foster is on the court officiating in the last 12 games. It's a personal. I think it's a personal thing.
See, now if you are able to see that, and this is not a downplay on your ability, but if you see that, why don't the officiating committee see that? I mean, I don't understand.
NBA wants this to go as long as possible, bruh. Got that paper.
It's money. Okay.
Yeah, Scott Foster will be officiating in game 5. I guarantee. He will be officiating because we want this to stretch. We need this to go as close to 7 games as possible. So they will insert Scott Foster tomorrow, and Phoenix will probably lose, and Milwaukee will probably end up winning the NBA championship because it's going to go back to Milwaukee, and they'll win in Milwaukee. But if Scott Foster does not officiate, Phoenix has a chance. So that's what I'm gonna boil it down to. We're gonna see if Scott Foster is officiating tomorrow night. To see if Phoenix gonna win or gonna lose. So
man, oh man, wow. All right, that's what it is. All right, so Pete, what's the book of the week that we're talking about, that we're discussing?
This week's book of the week is The Miseducation of the Negro.
Lauryn Hill? Oh, okay.
Oh, come on, man. That's the book of the week, man. Let's be serious.
Okay, my bad.
The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson. Again, that's The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, written in 1933, and it still applies today. I'm currently reading it right now. Almost done with it. Very short read, very good read. A lot of things that you can glean from it, as even being written in 1933 and being published in 1933. It is funny how our elders saw things, and those same things are continuing today.
Yeah,
so that's the crazy thing. That the more I'm getting into this book, the more I'm like, what we were talking about earlier. It's the same playbook, just different packaging.
Wow.
Same playbook, different packaging.
So the Miseducation of the Negro by who?
Carter G. Woodson, and he has a list of books regarding education, the Black church. He has a list of books that I'm gonna dive into because this book is so good, and he's the man behind Black History Month, Carter G. Woodson.
Right.
Right. Yeah. He actually started out with Black History Week.
Right.
And turned into a month. And expanded into Black History Month. And he is the gentleman behind that. So Carter G. Woodson is very important in Black history for sure. Not only with his books, but also the things he did outside as far as education wise and things of that sort. And again, with Black History Week, turn it into Black History Month. Yeah, very, very, very great man as far as the Black community is concerned. And these are the people that we should be giving flowers to right now.
Celebrating,
celebrating.
Mm-hmm.
So again, The Miseducation of the Negro by Carter G. Woodson, the book of the week.
Okay. There it is, folks. There it is. All right, we're going to end this podcast with a Bible quote, a verse for the week. And I'm coming from Galatians chapter 5, verses 24 through 26. And it reads, "Those who belonging to Christ Jesus have nailed the passions and desires of their sinful nature to his cross and crucified them there. Since we are living by the Spirit, let us follow the Spirit's leading in every part of our lives. Let us not become conceited or provoke one another or be jealous of one another." The Bible said it, I didn't. Pray on it. Bible said it, I didn't. But that's our Bible verse. Pete, any last words, comments, concerns before we get out of here?
Again, as always, my people, take care of yourself, take care of each other, protect yourself at all times. The enemy is rampant. So, take care of your family, take care of yourself, take care of your elders, take care of your friends and other family members, man, and take care of your peace as well, and your mental health as well.
Yeah, and the famous words of Beast Mode, take care of your mentals and your chicken.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Your mentals and your chicken, baby.
That's it. And for those of you who know, you know.
Yep.
So, all right, folks. Well, that's it. As always, thank you for tuning in to this edition of Our Voice 360, our perspective, our ways. Be blessed, be safe, and we are out.
Peace.
If you enjoyed this podcast, be sure to like and subscribe to the channel so you can be notified when a new show drops. Please rate and review this podcast and share it with your friends. Also, if you'd like to advertise or become a sponsor, please send an email to ourvoice360@gmail.com with your inquiry. We'll connect with you as soon as possible in hopes of creating a great partnership. And as always, thank you for tuning in to Our Voice 360, our perspectives, our way, keeping you in the know while you're on the go. See you next week.